bans. And of course, Zach and Chen, they're just getting rid of the very common stuff and then the mid lane things. And I really wonder if that Twisted Fate you brought up is going to be banned, because during these playoffs, even though he had such a high priority for most of the season, he hasn't been picked that frequently or at that high of a priority.
Well, he wasn't used as the first pick. He's out there.
No.
He's definitely one to think of. And actually thinking about it, I'm pretty sure in this match, this may have been the one where Twisted Fate was picked and Nukeduck used Talon to counter it. Nukeduck definitely played Talon somewhere in that last week. I have to double check that one. I know it was in there somewhere, but look at that though. Jarvan being used as the first pick. Dexter has gone for Jarvan quite a lot this season.
And it's because he's been dominating with it.
Yeah.
He was actually, I was checking some of his stats. Of all the junglers he's played, he's actually lost with every jungler that he's played, but he's won 8 times during the regular season with Jarvan. 8-1, so an absurd win rate with that champion. And honestly, being able to get that away from Cyanide as well, both of these guys love Jarvan. Getting a first pick is worth it.
Well, they went for that Twisted Fate, they left it open. We'll see what xPeke can do with it. Everybody's seen his highlight videos, and Fizz has been heavily banned this weekend. Sure enough, there it is.
Yeah, Lemondogs has never lost with Fizz, and they're open to pick it if they choose to at any point here. It would be smart if they don't pick it right away, because they don't have to, especially if they consider Caitlyn a priority pick here for Tabzz. He's had a huge amount of success with Caitlyn, and they're going to be able to get it out of Puszu's hands as well. So that's smart picking it now, because honestly, xPeke showed his hand with Twisted Fate, and at this point it's all about denying more picks from Fnatic.
Big stretches there by Nukeduck in that mid lane. Looks like the pressure, of course.
Well, he can wait till last pick. He can be like, oh yeah,
I got this. I got this. Don't worry. Lee Sin, that could be selected by Cyanide. Cyanide, of course, using. Was it Lee Sin he got the Baron steal with yesterday, or was it Jarvan? It may have been Jarvan, actually. Now
there were so many Baron steals yesterday. I think it was Jarvan, though.
Nobody's been able to secure them Barons, have they?
It's a bad idea.
I mean, is that bad jungling or good jungling? I mean, that's the question. So bad for one side for sure.
I mean, I've talked about that so many times about smiting Baron. It's a 50. I feel like it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
Every jungler's like, well, I can smite. It's like,
sure,
you're just hitting at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean.
Wow, okay, they've gone for the Ashe Zyra lane Fnatic, so they're going to pull that in. So we're expecting a tank to come in that mid-top lane.
I'm actually not sure what the way Fnatic plays if they're going to run a tank. Almost any other team for Fnatic's last pick, and I'd say absolutely they have to pick a primary tank because they're a team of squishies. But when Fnatic is kind of at their best, especially back in the spring split, they don't team fight. They just run around the map, catch skirmishes, specifically with sOAZ and xPeke together, and just go for odd man fights and never set up proper lines. So they might just pick yet another assassin or a high damage dealer.
Well, it is going to be the Sona Caitlyn lane. Kennen will be that side lane. Of course, Kennen with long range. If it is going to be a bruiser, it's going to have a hard time against Kennen or, to be honest, Caitlyn and Sona. Yeah,
none of those lanes are beneficial right now. Lemondogs has picked such strong lanes across the board, like they usually do.
Ooh.
That's an interesting hold on. That's a less interesting hold on.
That's a definite change. From Vayne to Yorick, how the size are of the casters. But
this is weird, actually, the Yorick, because you typically pair Yorick with a hyper carry type, or even a couple of them. A lot of times you'll see it with like Ryze and Vayne, or Ryze and Tristana, or Kog'Maw and Cassiopeia, something like that. Whoever he revives isn't going to be able to come up and just dish a bunch of damage in the next 10 seconds. At this point, sOAZ is basically picking Yorick for his own laning phase and a little bit of almost stalling while the other team tries to come in, because in a sense it's a revive, which will make odd man tower dives for Lemondogs a little bit more difficult.
So those are the team comps. We'll see how it works out. Teleport's also being locked in there. So Lemondogs versus Fnatic. This is for a place as the #1 seed, or you could just say we are the champions of Europe as they head in towards the World Finals. Of course, the places are already locked. These two teams know that they're going to Season 3 World Finals, and they've just seen Gambit joining them there, which is interesting in itself. I mean, the Gambit EG thing was a whole different ball game.
That game was amazing, the set this morning, and the emotion that both of those guys displayed is something these guys in this game haven't had to go through, because they haven't been up for elimination yet. This game, they're just they're playing with house money. They've made one of their goals, and now they just want to get the European Championship.
And you can see it is packed house here in Gamescom. Sold out actually on the Sunday, the first time it's ever sold out apparently on a Sunday at Gamescom. And
I can't believe how deep the fans go.
Yeah.
Is the one thing that I notice. obviously standing room only. I don't know how people move around during the games. I think they're out just watch.
And also thanks to all the other stands, because there's a lot of stands around here that actually have it on stream as well. They're not stupid. They know how to pull the crowds in. It's like, guys, we've got it on our stand as well. If you want to come and look at it, maybe
it's all the way to the back wall.
It does go all the way out there, and there it is, our beautiful stage here. Big thanks to the crew for setting that up, because that's a bit of an epic stage to set up throughout the days. And of course, we switched from Super Week on the Saturday and straight here on the Tuesday. It's been a busy few weeks.
Everyone gets to head over to North America for the
you guys get to jump on a plane tomorrow, don't you? Woo! Straight to PAX.
Yep.
It's gonna be some interesting times for you guys. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is the finals of the European playoffs. Lemondogs in the blue team versus Fnatic as the red team. I know I spoke to these teams and they said, we're going to have some fun with this match. They want to go aggressive. But we'll see how it is, because Lemondogs yesterday, they were the epitome of passiveness.
Yeah, I wonder if, I really think Lemondogs is going to play their game. They're one of those teams that seems like they know how to play, and they're going to prepare in this game for World Finals themselves. They've never been on this stage, so they don't necessarily know how to handle it. They've been the only consistent team. I don't expect them to just turn inconsistent while there's first place on the line.
Well, Fnatic are laying in wait, seeing if they can get a trap there, and they'd be foolish to run into that, because it'd be a simple grasping route and nobody would escape it.
Thing is, I'm actually very happy Fnatic decided to group up as 5 in a brush early game with Zyra, where teams are very likely to invade. How many times have we seen in these playoffs a team just walking through and trying to get a ward on that red buff? If Zyra just roots them as they walk by, they would surely get kills. And I feel like almost every team with Zyra can do that. It just didn't pay off for them this time.
And it's interesting because, we said right at the top of the show how Lemondogs do play clever. They play with their brains. They don't run into things blindly. And that just right there showed exactly that. It's like they knew there's a Zyra on the opposition, there's an Ashe with a critical hit, there's a Twisted Fate with a potential stun. There's a hell of a lot to absolutely ruin us in the jungle. We have no way of fighting this.
Absolutely. So that's why we see very rarely Lemondogs has no wards in opponent territory at the start of the game, because there was that much of a risk, and Lemondogs didn't want to take it because they are confident that they can win regardless of having vision of the enemy jungle at level 1.
So this mid lane, the battle of the mid laners, it was our featured matchup, Nukeduck versus xPeke, but it's Fizz versus Twisted Fate. There's no doubt about it. If Nukeduck can get on top of xPeke, there will be problems. He should be able to get the kill as they hit to level 6. xPeke, of course, he's going to be doing what he does best. He's going to be doing a xPeke. He's going to be backdooring. He's going to be trying to take those advantages away from the Lemondogs and split pushing. So I guess it's then going to be down to Zorozero or Nukeduck to try and deal with that.
And with the most recent patch for Twisted Fate, it actually swings the matchup substantially more in favor of Fizz, because previously Twisted Fate would try to lock a gold card as quickly as possible to kind of ward off a Fizz jumping on him, and then he'd hold it for 8 or 10 seconds. But now, once Twisted Fate locks a card, he only has 4 seconds to throw it. So it basically means xPeke cannot have as much persistent threat in lane against Fizz, where he needs that persistent threat. Otherwise, Nukeduck's just going to jump on him.
He just managed to throw out that blue mana card and the wild cards and hit both of them on towards Nukeduck. So starting off well. This top lane, sOAZ on Yorick. We did see a couple of Yoricks this weekend from Mima.
It was not
going well, but he's up against Zorozero on Kennen, and Zorozero is one of those players that actually has been criticized by his own teammates for having a weak champion pool. So I'm interested to see how he's going to do on this Kennen.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Zorozero is one of the stronger top laners in EU, and against Yorick, we haven't seen Yorick do well this weekend whatsoever. sOAZ still pulling him up because he's the type who has so much confidence in himself. I mean, sOAZ, he's very quietly confident. He'll never talk himself up. He's always like, well, it's always everyone else trying to create the drama with me. But there's a reason for that, because everyone wants to beat sOAZ because they know how good he is.
Well, I mean, you just think back to Type A Assassins, Stanley, top lane. He shouted, he called out sOAZ, like in his interviews at the World Finals. He's like, I'd love to play against players like him. So it's, when he's been drawn talent from the champions of Season 2, of course, him himself wasn't a champion of Season 1, like Fnatic were, of course. Don't forget they were at DreamHack back in 2011 when they won Season 1, of course. And also, actually, Melisan, the support player, is actually on the community stand. So one of those, so there is actually 3 members of that Season 1 World Championship team in this hall right now. course, two others being Cyanide and xPeke. But this bottom lane, it is going to be a 2v2. It's Tabzz and Mithy, who have had a very good weekend, a very good season, to be honest, a very good sum up against Puszu and YellOwStaR, who arguably had those changes in Fnatic and have done very well.
And oh my gosh, how much Zyra Ashe have we seen lately? It's the control lane. You just keep people at bay, and specifically when you hit level 6, you have very high kill potential, as well as it opens up the rest of your team to run lower utility if you choose so in that bottom lane. See how they can lane against Tabzz later.
Well, Dex is going to go on towards sOAZ. He has that red buff, manages to get the slowdown stun, has not come out just yet. It will do in a moment just before he gets to the tower. Is it going to buy him enough time though? Cyanide comes in, one more shuriken should do it, but sOAZ couldn't land it there. So it's Zorozero, and it does mean that sOAZ survives by the skin of his teeth.
And Lemondogs used everything to get in on that one. That's not really that huge of an impacting gank for that lane. It'll give Zorozero a little bit of extra time to farm, but being able to escape it is great by sOAZ.
Seeing pressure from Mithy in this bottom lane. Tabzz took a big trade though with Puszu. YellOwStaR focused on that AD carry, so no barriers burnt in that bottom lane. Of course, level 6 is about to be approached by both Nukeduck and xPeke, so we'll keep our eye on whether that Destiny goes flying out or whether Nukeduck decides to teleport, whether he uses that teleport to follow him or to engage himself.
Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting thing to track, is how xPeke can run around and avoid Nukeduck when Nukeduck's going to kill him, because it's obviously a teleport fizz. He's going to be trying to dump a bunch of damage on xPeke to stop him from going in the first place, or he's able to just out-duel him when he gets there. It's all a matter of timing for him.
So xPeke just hits level 6. He has Destiny. And in terms of farm between the mid lane, xPeke's been doing a fantastic job. He's starting to build up a pretty heavy lead over Nukeduck.
And that's the thing that xPeke is able to do as a ranged champion right now. Only sometimes can Fizz keep farm even with any type of ranged champion. It's not usually likely, but once he gets level 6 or so, and the kill threat really starts becoming larger, xPeke has to back off more. He has to give the CS back to Nukeduck, and I feel like Nukeduck's going to be making a bit of a recovery.
Speaking of that CS advantage, we talked about it.
It was just a big wave, and they're even the whole time.
Well, Zorozero is what I'm looking at. The fact that he'd got almost double. He has just gone back to buy, so instead he's got himself an Amp Tome and a ward to go with that double Doran's Blade he had. Tear of the Goddess was picked up by sOAZ, but sOAZ had fell behind quite heavily. Of course, he just took out that giant wave, which has pulled the numbers back by 10, but it was a 20+ CS lead at one point.
Yeah, and that had a bit to do with the large gank Dexter put on sOAZ as the lane was shoved, so naturally the lane is going to come back the other way. I think sOAZ is surviving quite well in that lane, but honestly, Yorick, when you're picking him, you should be a lane bully. It's just a matter that Kennen is a fantastic laning champion in his own right, so they're going close to even. Considering the gank, I'd say sOAZ is holding this up.
Well, we were talking about the Zyra Ashe lane, how strong it is, but look at Tabzz. He's having a really good time right down here at the moment. He's built himself up a 15+ CS advantage over him on the Caitlyn, and you just saw that stat a moment ago. He has been fantastic, and from the very first week, we were talking about the Caitlyn bans that were required for Tabzz because it seemed to be his only AD carry.
I even remember back when they were qualifying against All Authority, he was just running Caitlyn, and he was one of the first people I saw just always go for the Bloodthirster Last Whisper build on Caitlyn, which has just had so much popularity since then. Makes the ace in the hole hit for so much damage, and it really kind of changes the playstyle in the sense you want to use your Piltover Peacemaker much more, and his ultimate, and just keep his distance, absolutely.
Look at xPeke's build. He's gone for a needlessly large rod as his first item.
A little aggressive.
Yeah.
At this point, because you gotta keep in mind, if Nukeduck lands a shark on him, xPeke will basically die. He does have the exhaust as well, which is kind of allowing him to go with a slightly more offensive build. What this is kind of telling me is he's going for Zhonya's as quickly as possible, and he's trying to survive the laning phase without Dorans.
Look at that. That is just so controlled right there. So Lemondogs had the 3 members down the bottom. Nukeduck sat by the dragon. He just waited. He's like, am I needed? I've got a good push here. I've got teleport available, but I'm just going to stand away. I'm not going to run around and waste my time getting into that tri-bush. Perfectly tactical precision play, and that's the bottom 3 gain. So Lemondogs take the lead. And
what a lot of people don't realize with plays like that from Nukeduck is people don't think that if they ran all the way to the lane to give support, that could be a bad thing, because I would just be closer in case something happens. But it actually could be, because it means the more ground you cover, the more likely you are to be spotted. So he's denying information to Fnatic by making plays like that.
He sits around and waits. Fnatic going to try and take advantage of this one. Just to the side, though, is Dexter. Lying in wait. He's looking at maybe trying to slide in. Not. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be dangerous. And you see Fnatic, they try and pull away from that one. They will pick up the Dragon, so that's going to balance out the goal. Dragon for the one tower down the bottom so far. Let's have a look in this mid lane. You can see very close between them. Zorozero in the top lane as well. Also pretty close with sOAZ, who is stacking out that Tear of the Goddess. BF Sword was the first item Puszu bought. Meanwhile, Tabzz, he goes back and gets himself that BF Sword and the boots as well, because he's built up that CS advantage, and he took that tower early.
So far, Fnatic is really going for the big ticket items as opposed to the small little runs. I mean, we've seen Genja with Thorns and things like that as YellOwStaR. That might be it.
That's wow. Ace in the hole landed and nobody there to block it. So first blood does come out, and Tabzz, well, he went for that ace in the hole, got that BF Sword, does the damage. Yeah, and that was kind of typical Lemondogs. 10 minutes of slow play, and then the opportunity kind of happened for them. The reason that YellOwStaR died there was because he was taking a slightly shorter way around as he was trying to rotate lanes, but there was actually a ward over top of the river where YellOwStaR was moving, and it allowed Lemondogs to get all of the damage and have knowledge of where he was going, and it honestly just surprised YellOwStaR. Obviously the ward was there because they wanted to check for Peke going top lane, and if you put the ward there, you're more likely to spot him. It's just something YellOwStaR wasn't thinking of. So we're seeing the developments of Lemondogs tactics. The split push from Nukeduck had already begun. Push that big wave down there, Peke reacts. So it's going to be those two facing off against each other. No surprise there. Of course, the destiny for Peke is going to make him maneuverable, and of course the teleport for Nukeduck. They honestly actually play fairly similar tactics, but Lemondogs just are more reserved. We were talking about this at the start. Fnatic do tend to have, and this is why it surprised me that Yorick came out for sOAZ, that double team of sOAZ and Peke that will just either bully out and push your lane, and simply to the point where the opposition have to pull 3 to 4 members to deal with it. Which is kind of weird that they picked Yorick, because Yorick's not the type of guy who you think buddies up and goes and assassinates a person. He really just sits back, which puts even more pressure on Peke to make a play. The pressure on the lanes is going to be Tabzz going mirrored up nicely. Good action with the crowd control, but it's still not going to be enough. Teleport from Nukeduck. He's going to come down the side there. Switches up to Puszu. Manages to land the playful trickster on towards him. Gets across, throws out the big earth on towards him. Puszu is going to get covered out. Great work from Cyanide there. Iron safeguards in and kicks Dexter away from his AD carry. They're just making some big plays for no deaths. Amazing amount of tactical or mechanical skill displayed in that last fight just to keep people alive, specifically Cyanide coming in right at the timing for which it would have saved him. And they're going to come on the side there. Dexter slides in once again, but he gets caught out. Grasping roots, that's going to be the kill. Cyanide gets in there. Playful trickster, Cyanide will go down. Nukeduck going to turn this one. Flash crescendo from Mithy. He's going to get a yellow card on towards Peke. Peke has to defend and flash away. YellOwStaR using that Stranglethorns to just save his bacon. They just had to go back in. They realized everyone used all their stuff. If they go back again, they're going to get some kills, and the junglers ended up trading their lives. But Fnatic was taken even lower in that fight, which is allowing for a potential push from Lemondogs in mid lane. And Zorozero, he's going to get punished a little bit off the side there. Puszu is back in lane. Fully hit points. Almost got himself that Bloodthirster ready. sOAZ getting stunned out by Zorozero, and everybody backing away. Talking about those big items, Zorozero is now gone for that needlessly large rod as well. Yeah, he's going to be rushing the Zhonya's. Of course, that's the thing that Kennen does. Against this team, it's not as necessary, actually, because there's not a whole bunch of persistent damage that he's going to be having to dodge when he goes in on the fight. He's just buying it because why not? He doesn't necessarily want to Rylai's or anything foolish at the start. Going for the needlessly large rod and the Zhonya's is probably the right call. So blue buff invade coming out from Lemondogs here. Controlled invade as well, because Fnatic not anywhere near that one. That is going to get stolen away. Dexter using that smite to confirm it, and they just rotate around while this is all happening. Nukeduck, he's in that top lane. Teleport was used already, of course, for that mid lane. There's going to be an arrow coming down the mid lane. It's not going to find its target. Zorozero using that lightning surge to get out of the way. Yeah, the thing that happened with that arrow is it passed a minion, which gave Lemondogs earlier knowledge of how to dodge it. You have to be very careful as an Ashe not to give your tells of where the arrow is going to be and not shoot it past any vision. And I love the way you say it gives them the early hours, because I would say probably 99% of the player base of League of Legends wouldn't have spotted that in time. No. No.
I mean, these are professionals, so you got to be a little sneakier with the Ash arrows.
So, Puszu is off the side. He is in his own land. He's actually fell quite heavily behind in CS. 28 CS, you can see, coming behind. Infinity Edge being rushed by Tabzz. Meanwhile, it's going to be Bloodthirst up for Puszu. Mid lane, xPeke, he's got the workings of a Rabadon's Death Cap in there already.
He's going to be going rather quick for that. It's kind of strange. Maybe xPeke is just going full ability power. It seemed like maybe with the needlessly large rod, he wanted to go for his Zhonya's to kind of go in and make some very aggressive plays. But knowing Peke, he's probably going for the split push. So the fastest or highest damage split push build he could go would be straight Rabadon's Lich Bane, which is what he has the components for right now.
And we'll see which stack it out, of course. Cyanide and Dexter. We haven't really talked about these two junglers and the impact they've had. We've just seen Cyanide making a great impact, simply defending off his Puszu. Dexter's been trying to make the plays as well. We saw him create that first blood opportunity on YellOwStaR. So how do we work about these junglers? Because both kind of go about their job the same way.
Yeah, but in this game in particular, they have much different roles. Dexter is going to be trying to lock down and finish off members of Fnatic while Fnatic is split pushing, and Cyanide's basically going to be playing defense and trying to create a bunch of chaos. He's going to be trying to kick away people or kick in initiations when Lemondogs isn't ready for Fnatic's scatter tactics.
So it looks like Fnatic are going to try and push that mid lane. You can see they've forced them off. Dragon is available, which is why Lemondogs were starting to position themselves off the side. That's going to be the mid lane turret for Fnatic. That's the first one of the game. They will get it, but Lemondogs, they're continuing to try and push out. They throw out the Great Earth. It's going to get on towards YellOwStaR. A lot of damage done, but that was a good arrow onto Lemondogs. Actually stunned up and slowed both Zorozero and Nukeduck.
And that's what Fnatic's going to be doing a lot of this game, is just disengaging. They're going to try and take objectives, hit and run, and then avoid being initiated upon. That's what most of their picks are completely targeted around.
So Lemondogs back off, they go back towards that Dragon. Do Fnatic want to engage for this one? They have just used that arrow, of course. Forkshot comes across, gives them full vision. They know that the Lemondogs are on it. They're going to try and get it. He gets the steal. Cyanide. Are they going to try and make them pay for this? That's the question. They're going to see a great Stranglethorn's going down. Lemondogs getting caught out here. Cyanide will go down as well. Mithy's very low. It's going to be a great engage by Zorozero. Zorozero gets on towards him. sOAZ. Nukeduck's going to get focused down as well. Tabzz is the last man standing. This could be an ace coming off a disastrous Dragon there. He's walking in towards Fnatic territory. He's not going to be able to get away from this one. The stun card comes out. There's the Ash arrow. Sorry, that's going to be the catch. And that is the ace and the Dragon for Fnatic.
Could not have been better for them. And let's take a look at how this happened. How many Dragon Steals have we seen during these playoffs? There's another one. It's usually been at Baron, but this is why the fight was so good for Fnatic. This corridor with Zyra is a disaster to fight for Lemondogs. Once that Stranglethorns went down, it meant Lemondogs couldn't get the clean initiation. You could see Zorozero only got a couple with his ultimate. Cyanide came back to finish it off when sOAZ used the ultimate, and Lemondogs was scattered because they started that fight from within the Dragon Pit and just couldn't make it out through the Zyra and through the corridor. Top it all off, they did lose the Dragon at the start as well. Gives Fnatic a huge edge.
Big turnaround, and it actually made Puszu switch his build. Going for the Bloodthirster? You know what? Might as well get Infinity Edge. I've just got a lot of gold.
It's a smart move. Also, I'm going to go out on the limb and say he was going Infinity Edge the whole time. You don't see Ashes go Bloodthirsty, necessarily. They try to benefit from the passive crit that Ashe generates from her passive just to get those first hit jumps on people. Specifically just because Fnatic is going to be picking their fights so carefully. It's just, that's the thing you do on Ashe.
Interesting that the way the Lemondogs went about that one. Actually, they've just pinged on Nukeduck. They know that he's there. There is two members. Well, I'm not sure they've got the damage to control him there. sOAZ and Cyanide coming in. sOAZ, of course, trying to build up that mana Munate in towards his Muramana. We do see both Lich Banes picked up by the mid laners, Nukeduck and Peke. Of course, Peke still with that needlessly large rod, which he can transfer into that Rabadon's Death Cap, probably the next item. Zhonya's Hourglass was also picked up by Zorozero. So the top laners right now, it's been a little bit split between them. They've been off doing their own thing. How do we see these right developing? Zorozero obviously with that CS advantage, got the 2 kills. Did have the death, of course, in that last ace that just happened, but sOAZ, he is the man that's going to be supporting, and I didn't actually see where he used his Omen of Death in that last fight, actually. I'm not sure which target he went for.
On Cyanide, because Cyanide got so low from the initial Dragon Steal that when he re-engaged, he was actually low. And to get back to that matchup, I think Zorozero definitely won the laning phase against sOAZ. You can see the turrets down, superior farm, but sOAZ is actually positioning himself to have a pretty damn strong game. Already 1-0-4, and if he gets that Spirit Visage going quickly, he's going to be able to turn himself into one, maybe even two kind of slow dive buddies into the team of Lemondogs, which might give Fnatic enough oomph in team fights to be able to actually take him on once they have a bit of a lead.
Interesting, Zorozero chasing down xPeke there. xPeke pulling the yellow card out in a much needed time there. But he got a bit of damage on him, so Zorozero now switching up. And it's actually a double split push coming out from Lemondogs. They are shoving both with Zorozero in the bottom lane and Nukeduck. He's continuing to keep pushing that top lane.
Lemondogs and Fnatic both love running kind of what we call a 3-1-1 just lineup in most games, where they have a core team of 3 and then 2 just rogues that just do their own thing off on the side. That's what both of these teams do, so they'll be very familiar with it. And in that type of game, xPeke and Puszu are the stars for Fnatic, because the arrows can catch people, the 1s, or the 3s if your whole team is there, and xPeke gets to go wherever he wants. Whereas Lemondogs really just has Fizz who can participate in that game.
Yeah, both teams have actual great vision as well. Although saying that, Lemondogs are lacking in the top lane, which is why we see that ward going down in the river from Nukeduck. Bottom lane is heavily covered out there from Zorozero, sOAZ trying to turn a little bit of aggression on him with those ghouls and just get forced back away. Going to go for the ward. The mid lane though looks like there may be an action hotspot here. We do see sOAZ, Mithy just off at the side. I'm thinking maybe they're going to come in across flash crescendo here. No, it's going to be quickly interrupted. YellOwStaR throws down those plants, keeps them well at bay. Yeah, with all 5 members of Lemondogs near, it's dangerous for Fnatic to go in for a full-on fight on top of the turret, so they might hold the arrow for a little while longer. Mithy just makes his way safely across. Nukeduck is just holding out in the wolves actually. He's biding his time to come in on towards Fnatic. The rest of Fnatic are now all here. It's a straight up 5v5 in that mid lane. We have Dexter just off the side in the Wraiths as well. Mithy was over there, making sure they keep that protected. So standoff, Nukeduck is going to go up the river back towards xPeke. xPeke turns straight back around and heads back for mid.
Yeah, and Fnatic is in a pretty comfortable situation right here. They're maybe just trying to draw out this portion of the game because they recognize that they are stronger. When you think of the matchup between Twisted Fate and Fizz, actually with these pings going down, it looks like Fnatic's looking for some type of arrow fight, knowing that Fizz isn't there. They baited out the teleport by faking that invade. Or Nukeduck's just going in from the back.
Nukeduck goes in around the side. The crescendo gets only gets on towards sOAZ. Cyanide taking very low, but sOAZ is deep. Zorozero's going to get dropped. Didn't get a chance to use the Zolly's hourglass there. Earth comes out. Tabzz does manage to get the kill on towards Cyanide, but look at Nukeduck. He's running for his life. He's managed to take down the support, but that is all. Mithy's going to get dropped as well. It's a great fight for the Fnatic so far. They've managed to get the 3-for-1. There's going to be xPeke coming in. Stun card on towards Dexter. Wildcard follows through, and that's a double for xPeke. It's a 4-for-1 trade.
And that was exactly what Fnatic wanted, 4-for-2 as you hold up the 2 fingers afterwards. That fight itself was something Lemondogs forced because Fnatic was sitting there for so long. Lemondogs wanted to make this a reality, but you could see the crescendo didn't land on enough. Only Cyanide, who could then just go wherever he wants afterwards, and Nukeduck only managed to get the support, which allowed Fnatic a bunch of freedom throughout the rest of the fight to then come and finish off. You could see xPeke finished off, then came all the way back to go mid, and now they might be going for a ridiculously fast 23-minute Baron.
And that was interesting, the flat-out aggression from Puszu. Realized he had full control of Nukeduck and actually flashed to make sure he got that kill. Went aggressive onto a Fizz. That was not something you'd already see. He had the barrier, of course, up there, and that will be Baron for Fnatic. 10-6 up in kills, 6,000 gold advantage. You can see they're still actually behind the turrets. They haven't taken too many objectives across the map. But now that they have that Baron on, they're going to be so much stronger. They were already trying to push the Lemondogs, and Lemondogs, well, normally play very conservatively, maybe feeling a little bit of pressure. Remember, this is their first big final.
I know, and we don't know how they're going to perform on these stages. We knew before this playoffs even happened, they said, oh, we're happy that we made it into Season 4. Anything else is just a bonus. Whereas Fnatic have been champions before, so they can definitely push on in full force. And right now, they're just taking absolutely every advantage possible. They recognize how much stronger they are than Lemondogs at this moment. Puszu has that Ash Arrow. Really, Fnatic only has 2 people on their team that have even died this game because the other 3, sOAZ, xPeke, and Puszu, have just been playing so smartly in these fights. And they're allowing Cyanide and YellOwStaR to kind of take the hits for them. They're playing this very well.
Yeah, it seems to be Cyanide, like you mentioned, that is going to be the Omen of Death magnet, it seems, for sOAZ. He's done to use it on him because he's simply that frontline tank, and you can see now he's got that Aegis Legion in there as well. The Iron Locket will follow through. Had to go for that Sightstone early on to do the funky tricks that can pull with Lee Sin. Has got home guard boots as well, so going to be running straight back out defending. I expect to see those home guard boots stacking up on everyone. More importantly, it seems to be Lemondogs. They're going to be the ones that are pressured. The mid lane now is where the pressure is coming though. Fnatic starting to stack there.
Yeah, and there is no teleport up for Nukeduck right now, so all the split push he is trying to create might just backfire. Fnatic decides to go in whenever they want. Peke is in range to teleport in. If they led with an Ash Arrow, they'd be risking giving up a bit of a turret, but they'd be trying to make a quick game.
There's the arrow, lands on towards Tabzz. You can see quickly Peke is going to jump into this one. Cyanide goes in towards him. Dexter's caught out the side. Zorozero having to use that on his hourglass. Slicing Maelstrom doing work though. Puszu goes down to Tabzz. Fnatic not in exactly a great position. The top turret has gone down. That's going to be Fizz continuing to split push. He's still going on towards the inhibitor turret. He hasn't backed away yet. That's going to be the ghost, the Omen of Death of Puszu, but it will be Fnatic pushing on towards the inhibitor turret. Have they got enough to try and take it?
It's still such a risky push. They lost that fight 1-0 in a 4v5, and now, even though they have the Baron, after taking the turret down, there is a fish behind them trying to get a kill.
Nukeduck heading straight towards them. You can see the Cataclysm's going to be used. They're trying to lock him up. sOAZ does already have his ultimate down, remember, but where's he going? So, of course, you can't chase down a slippery little sucker like Lee Sin. Simply slides away. They're only going to get the one kill at best out of this one. Then it is going to be sOAZ. That's not a great return. It was an inner turret and a bunch of kills for an inner turret and an inhibitor turret.
Well, that was one of those high-risk, high-reward plays by Fnatic, which we don't necessarily see too much of usually. Way back in the spring split, I remember I was talking to a lot of EG players, and they were talking about Fnatic's play style. They do medium risk, high reward plays, where your response to them is risky, but they're only taking a medium risk going into it. That was actually fairly unlike Fnatic, because if that dive went horribly wrong, Nukeduck could have taken an inhibitor themselves, and it almost did, but Fnatic gets away with a slight advantage. They're still going in.
Flat out aggression. There's Tabzz that gets kicked out by Cyanide. Remember, the Ashes Arrow is going to catch. That is going to be Tabzz going down. Puszu exacts revenge there. Nukeduck's well out of position here.
They might just be trying to go back in here because the Baron is still on a couple people, and there's the TF ult.
Zorozero is going to get taken low. He gets dropped. His Zoni's hourglass wasn't available, and that is going to be a double kill. We do see Dexter going down as well. Mithy's going to get locked up. That's another kill for Peke. This is a whitewash of Fnatic. They're going to push straight through the mid lane.
Yeah, they have 4 people dead on Lemondogs right now. Nukeduck was the only person to make an escape, and Fnatic still, with Baron on Peke and YellOwStaR, are taking the inhibitor that they tried to get a couple minutes ago.
Big plays by Fnatic. They will take down the inhibitor. That is the first one of the game. They are now, what, 8,000 gold in the lead. It's a big, big advantage.
Yeah, and it's because of this. Cyanide goes in and gets the kick this time onto Tabzz. In the previous fight, he'd actually gotten it onto Jarvan. It allows Puszu just hit him in the face with a crystal arrow, and then they chase the rest of it down because Peke is so fast with that Lich Bane right now, and obviously his ultimate allows him to go pretty much wherever he wants. Once they make the corner, he cuts them off. You can't run into an Ashe, you can't run away from an Ashe, and clearly you can't run away from Peke, which is why they cleared up that 4-0.
Well, Twisted Fate was left available. Lemondogs could have taken it as their first pick, but instead they chose to go with Jarvan. Dexter, who is 0-4-7 right now. Should they have gone for that Twisted Fate? Twisted Fate, Peke, 4-0-7. It's a dangerous, dangerous thing to allow Peke to have.
Peke's trying to make them regret this, but you throw so many bans at the mid laners already, you're pretty much just throwing them back and forth. Lemondogs haven't lost with Fizz all year, and Fizz is generally pretty good against Twisted Fate, so I don't think this is a pick they necessarily regret. It's just Fnatic is playing this game so well, and Peke in particular.
In terms of farm between Zorozero and sOAZ, and has developed into a bit of a gulf, but simply put, they're not in that lane phase, and they haven't been for a while because Fnatic are grouping up as one and creating advantages. This is not normal Fnatic play. We don't ordinarily see them stacking up as a 5 and just piling in there. But 28 minutes going into this game, we're going to see that lobster thrown out. Earth pops out, unsuccessful. They're just trying to create plays now. It seems Lemondogs, under pressure, are starting to struggle. Peke's going to try and get caught out here. Dexter slides in, Ace in the hole will come through. Gets
the rest of the team
out by the Zoni's hourglass. They are going to see foot shut down on towards Peke. The bonus gold going to Nukeduck. Fnatic going to back away.
Well, Fnatic's trying to play aggressive. Lemondogs sniffs an opportunity, but they get flashed away. And I believe Lemondogs is not able to finish this push. This is Fnatic, in my opinion, just experimenting a little bit, because they've already qualified for the World Championships right now. Yet this game still means a lot for them, so they're in a unique situation where they can play slightly differently with good rewards, but without having the maximum punishments against them. You're almost never in this situation as a professional team.
Well, we saw both of these teams also running a double AD comp in the Super Week because, well, Fnatic felt they were safe, I feel, in the first game, or maybe they pulled out something fancy, and it didn't work for them. Lemondogs themselves also pulled out the double AD comp, didn't work for them either. So
I haven't really seen double AD comps work, as long as we're on this topic. They see, like, it's a beautiful idea, and you think, man, if we only had 2 AD carries, wouldn't that be great? And you're like, that would be great, man, awesome. You're like, wait a minute, I think we're missing something in this team competition.
I just think it's the mid lane that's going, I can play Ezreal, I can do that.
Ezreal's really fun.
It's fun.
Winning is also fun.
Winning is a much better feeling. So, okay, with that blue buff, Lich Bane stacking out got that Rabadon's Death Cap. Now there's Zonya's Hourglass on him as well. He is pretty much a complete Twisted Fate right now, but you could almost say the same for Nukeduck. With that Zonya's, with that Lich Bane in there. Guess Rabadon's Death Cap will follow as well.
Yeah, and it's actually, Fizz follows this really weird power curve, actually, where he's strong early, actually dips for a while, and then when Fizz hits 4, 5, or 6 items, he just starts killing absolutely everyone. And I don't think Nukeduck's actually quite there yet. He's pretty strong, but until he actually gets a death cap, he's not going to really blow people up who aren't a support like YellOwStaR.
And Zorozero's gone full mage tank as well, like absolutely trying to blitz people. Rabadon's Death Cap was just completed by him, along with that Zonya's Hourglass.
Yeah, he's going to need to be doing a bunch of damage, and it's kind of smart of him to be building slightly more aggressive right now, since Lemondogs isn't necessarily the ones looking to dive, so they don't have to worry about the turret dagger or the damage he'll take coming in. They're mainly going to be trying to play reactively to what Fnatic is doing, and Fnatic is trying to make a bunch of plays as they go for this Baron.
Trying to get that Baron down, trying to use the ghouls actually to take that new advantage. Dexter's going to get locked up. He's going to be able to slide away, but the arrow does manage to land. Is he going to be enough to get away from this one? He should walk away. That's the Ash Arrow burn.
I really didn't get much for that. I thought Cyanide might be able to go back in, and here's the counter engage.
They're going to try and get in towards it. Cataclysm was used. He's locked up sOAZ, but there's not a great deal of damage done to him. Mithy tries to get close, but he's in danger of getting caught out. Oh, has to flash away. Cyanide caught him. That was split precision flashing as well, because Cyanide could have followed through there.
They're just going to keep going at each other.
sOAZ is getting caught out as well. There's a lot of pressure on him, but he's so tanky. He's just healing it all back up.
And how aggressive is Fnatic willing to be here? Because Cyanide is incredibly low, healed up a little bit. They have no Ash Arrow, but they know Zorozero has been back in base. And in this game in particular, Fnatic has been pressing harder than usual. They might look to stick around.
This is a dangerous start for Baron. They can't go for it. Lemondogs have all backed off. We've seen the mid lane, actually the inhibitor is under pressure from minions, so we can see that Zorozero is there, and it is going to be the inhibitor doing the damage at the moment, but that is going to be a... Where was that tower that went down? It's got to be the bottom lane tower that just went down. There we go. Just trying to see what happened there. The minions taking something out, but nevertheless, Fnatic did back away from that Baron. No surprise there. Would have been dangerous play. Lemondogs themselves having to deal with this massive wave push of minions, but look how many wards are out there. Lemondogs actually have much better vision of that Baron area than the Fnatic do.
Yeah, specifically Lemondogs, since they were moving around in that jungle for so long, are very protective against a counter initiation. And it's brilliant of them to spend this much on wards early on, because all Fnatic wants to do is fire an Ash Arrow through the jungle while Lemondogs is coming up and initiate a fight. But since they have advanced vision of these Ash Arrows, it's going to be much easier for them to reactively avoid them.
Just waiting to see. Look at this. Nukeduck. He's got that teleport available, remember, so he can join the party. He's going to back off to base. Doesn't want to use it as actively. Fnatic trying to bait out Lemondogs into coming into here. 3 of them lying in wait. YellOwStaR simply playing possum with that Oracle to clear out those wards and hoping someone engages on him.
Yeah, Nukeduck's not even close right now. Teleport is up for Fizz, and see, this is just Fnatic being more aggressive than usual. They're at very real danger of getting initiated on by Kennen. That Baron is getting very low though, 4,000 health.
Ooh, the arrow is gonna miss actually. Teleport comes in straight onto Stranglethorns. Will it be enough to current control them? It's a great crescendo coming out there. Lemondogs could turn this fight. They're gonna get in there, that's gonna be enough from Zorozero, but the damage is not quite there. Mithy takes a big chunk. Nukeduck has yet to engage. Now comes in, gets the shutdown on towards Puszu. Fnatic have to disengage this one. Lemondogs, they're gonna try and turn and push mid.
And that fight could have been a lot worse for Fnatic, because Zorozero never really got in for his cannon ult Fnatic could have gotten wrecked, and we talked before how Fnatic doesn't have a team fighting composition. So to corner themselves as 5 near the Baron is extremely dangerous. They only lost that fight 1-0, but Lemondogs is definitely roaring a bit back in this game.
Lemondogs using their standard controlled passive play, making it plain clever play as well. Where is xPeke going to go? Oh, he didn't get away from that one, actually. He was engaged. Dexter slid in and interrupted him. xPeke does just walk away, though. Fizz was close by, so Nukeduck was looking to maybe try and pick up some kills there. But again, like I was just saying, they took that middle turret, then just swung around for Dragon. They didn't wait around too long. They didn't try and push that mid lane.
No, and I feel like this advantage that Fnatic has gained from the inhibitor is kind of lost. And like Lemondogs does, they play low risk, so they won that Baron fight, and the risk play would have been going for a turret, but knowing how aggressively Fnatic has been trying to take down Baron, Lemondogs needed to make sure that they were prepared for this upcoming fight, and they also needed to make sure they could refresh the wards in their own jungle, because if Puszu lands one of those Ash arrows, it's going to be trouble. And this is not... Puszu's been playing amazingly this entire game and split. The reason he's not landing his Ash arrows isn't because he's firing them wrong, it's because Lemondogs knows how to play against Ash so well.
Yeah, they know how to avoid that big stun that comes out. sOAZ, of course, with that Manamune completed into his Muramana. The LC xPeke, he needs that blue buff, he needs to keep that Destiny on cooldown as long as possible. He's going to go and clear out that bottom wave while the rest of Fnatic, they go for that shove down that mid lane. There's only 3 of them there right now. YellOwStar's going to try and join them, and Lemondogs thinking of creating something. Again, they've got a lot of ping wards down, there's a lot of ward coverage at that Baron. I don't think either team really wants to go for it now, though.
No, not quite, because it's at a point where Lemondogs is behind in overall gold, but very even in actual team fights. So if they initiate the wrong way and get caught by YellOwStar's Stranglethorns, they're going to be in a lot of trouble, whereas Fnatic wants to maneuver around the map and kind of catch Lemondogs in a weird spot, which is why Fnatic's forcing all these awkward-looking initiations and movements. Yeah,
of course, the inhibitor is exposed in that mid lane, so Fnatic can just walk straight up and take it down. They've got to be careful they don't get engaged upon, though. This plant's doing great work from YellOwStar, shutting out effectively all of Lemondogs.
And this is just a great play by Fnatic. It could backfire if they're not careful, though. sOAZ is in the base. If they all come in for the inhibitor, Lemondogs can get them. At the most part, Fnatic wants to peel away and slowly take Lemondogs into a tight space. That's why Lemondogs is not immediately following.
Well, Nukeduck desperately trying to get onto either Puszu or xPeke. They're going to be the targets. And the fact is, he's still behind them, while the rest of the team have got in position to defend out that inhibitor.
Oh,
Nukeduck
the fish!
does get spotted out. It's going to go onto sOAZ. Nearly pulled it into Puszu there. That's not the target he wanted, though. That was blocked off by sOAZ to prevent Puszu from getting hit by that earth.
That was a close one. Nukeduck had done so much to be able to get around behind Fnatic. He knows how difficult it is to plow through all of the defenses they have there. If Nukeduck tries to approach a fight up front, he's got to get past Cyanide's kickback, Puszu's Ash arrows, xPeke's stuns, and all of YellOwStar's roots. That's why it was good for him to get around the back. And then the fact that the fish landed on exactly the wrong target, all that work for nothing.
All that work for nothing. And Fnatic return back in towards that Baron pit with that Oracle, clear out everything that Lemondogs worked hard to get back in there. And we are back to absolutely the same position they were 5 minutes ago. But the difference is Fnatic, he is down, xPeke, sorry, down that bottom lane, pushing out for Fnatic, keeping the pressure on towards that bottom turret. And that's going to force Nukeduck to have to react to this one. Teleport not yet available, but it probably will be by the time Fnatic are in position to maybe try and pressure on the Baron.
Yeah, he's only got 40 seconds left on that teleport, and knowing that xPeke and YellOwStar just went back to base for Fnatic means he's safely able to farm out that lane a little bit. Nukeduck's getting dangerous, by the way. He's just picking up another needlessly large rod, and this is the Fizz that can start blowing anyone up, which means Fnatic has to be extremely cautious. But speaking of blowing people up, a Deathfire Grasp, Lichbane Twisted Fate can basically just pop someone if he gets the combo off properly. Much like Alexich's Kale did a couple days back, this TF build can actually do a very similar thing.
We'll keep our eye on that one. I'm also wondering whether Puszu's maybe going to go for a defensive item towards the end. He's up to his 5-item building there. You can see that Phantom Dance along with the IE Bloodthirst, that last Whisper. Yet to go for that final item. Meanwhile, Tabzz looks like he's going towards a Blade of the Rune King as his 4th item.
Seems like a smart call for Tabzz right now because he needs to cut through Puszu. Was that arrow going to land? No.
Well,
Once again, you can see the forward ward in the mid lane. Let everyone know that that arrow was coming down, and it allowed everyone to move to the left.
They all just sidestepped off there. It's a pretty short cooldown. It's going to be about 40 seconds before that's back available. Lemondogs are going to realize that. You can see they tried to create a play straight off of YellOwStaR. Almost got caught out by Dexter, but he didn't engage because the vision wasn't great around that river area. And Fnatic keep control. Cautious play from both teams right now.
Yeah, they're both playing a little bit low risk right now. And if we know who the riskier team is here, it's going to be Fnatic, who actually forces something. Lemondogs feels very confident in their ability to team fight. So they're just going to react to Fnatic and basically try and dare them to come in for a battle.
Yeah, you can see they're pushing up that mid lane. Fnatic are reacting to this one. They're coming around the side, coming around both sides. In fact, sOAZ is looking at coming around the backside, trying to shut them down, slow them so the rest of the team can get in there. Puszu also putting those volleys across. We do see xPeke just off the side. The great lot of lockup from Fnatic here. If they land it right, we do see the plans coming through. Dexter almost getting caught. Lemondogs trying to back away from this one, but Mithy's been caught. He's going to have to get away from this one. He's taken very low. That means Flash Crescendo won't be really available. Fnatic have done a great job at separating and forcing Lemondogs well away from lane.
And now Fnatic can just run right down the middle lane, and Lemondogs is basically going to have to bound right back for it, despite how low Mithy is. So if they ever take a wrong turn, knowing Lemondogs is starting this fight from low health, Fnatic may have an edge. This could be a fight they're willing to take.
That's the inhibitor going down though. Fnatic are going to get on towards it. Lemondogs are backing off. Nukeduck stays at the side, but Fnatic aren't interested. They've got in, they've got their objective, and they back out.
That was sOAZ making a play on Yorick. Not the playmaking type champion you're normally used to, but he has actually accumulated a very scary Yorick build. He's an incredibly tanky man, but because he's got that Muramana transform, he's able to get squishies down quite quickly, as we saw in that last fight. So he's actually now quite a nuisance for Lemondogs to deal with.
xPeke uses Destiny, wipes out the entire wave with a singular red card, but that does mean Destiny is not available. Lemondogs tried to quickly take advantage of that, went in towards that Baron. The rest of Fnatic are close by, so Lemondogs choose to think it was a bit too risky a play.
It was a risky play, but at the same time, that was a bit of an opportunity, because once xPeke used that Destiny, Lemondogs could have noted that Peke's mana was incredibly low, so you knew either Peke was going back to base or he was stopping at blue, and he didn't have an ultimate to come in immediately. Lemondogs would have had a fair amount of time for 4v5, but then you factor in Cyanide and how Lemondogs had already lost Dragon to them earlier. It makes it, like usual, the smart move of Lemondogs to back away.
There's nothing worse than losing out that Baron and tanking it all up. And by the time they would have done it, Peke could have been back there. So,
Yeah.
Fnatic, they are in the driving seat. We are hitting the 42nd minute of this game. We're already seeing 400 CS on Peke, highest in the game, and no surprise there. Nukeduck actually quite a long way out of position, and Fnatic quite close by to him. Choose not to push across, and again, it's ward clearance, ladies and gentlemen, around that Baron pit. I feel I've been in this situation many times in my casting career.
But right now, Lemondogs actually kind of ran out of wards near the Baron area, so they have to be very cautious in this approach, which gives Fnatic a lot more control and power over where this next fight happens. If any of the Ash arrows land, it could be one from Puszu in this fight.
Well, Lemondogs are pretty separated here. The ace in the hole will come across, but look at that, he barely dent sOAZ. And now Mithy's actually in trouble. The arrow's going to land. Mithy just gets dropped. Stranglethorns uses a great disengage by YellOwStaR, but now Fnatic want to chase on towards it. sOAZ is going to get taken low. Uses the ultimate on himself. Gets bursted by Zorozero, and now Caitlyn is going to get dropped. Tabzz is in trouble. Nukeduck's not going to be able to get out of this. Zonya's Hourglass gets locked up. Tries to playful Trickster away, but gets double killed by Peke. That was a 3-for-1, and Fnatic now looking to take a big advantage.
It was the slow play ward game there by Fnatic, and Peke got his combo off. At this point, Dexter's just trying to run around. There's only one possible defender of the base for Lemondogs right now, where there are 4 strong members of Fnatic pushing in. They might go for Nexus turrets here.
They should be able to do it. Of course, Peke in there has got a hell of a lot of damage.
Oh, look at that.
My word, he just drops that turret in a singular card nearly. Of course, Puszu in there. He's got almost his full build. Ash, this is going to be Fnatic taking game 1, ladies and gentlemen, of the finals against the Lemondogs. We are going to see the ultimate coming out from Zorozero, but that's simply going to get him locked up. It's only buying time for Fnatic, and they will get the kill on him. Got 2 kills, not bad out for Zorozero, but it will be the Nexus going down. Fnatic take game 1 in this final best of 5.
That puts them one game closer to winning 2 Season 3 splits in a row here over in Europe. And even though Fnatic played the start of that game rather aggressive, they hit a snag in the middle of the game before they could eventually finish it off.
So, 1 down, 4 to go maybe, or just 2 for Fnatic, that's all they need.
If they play well enough.
Lemondogs have got to think about that one. They've got to think about the picks and bans. They've got to think about the plays they used. Because you think back to that Dragon, the first Dragon fight. They lost the Dragon through a smite from Cyanide, and they got aced.
Yeah, that was very well played around objectives for Fnatic, and that's the team comp they specifically picked. All the extra mobility they gained from having the Twisted Fate, as he was able to survive most of the laning phase against Fizz, being able to pick Ashe and then deal with the Caitlyn lane, having Zyra never getting initiated on in the wrong way by what was a very strong initiation team from Lemondogs. The dive potential that was Jarvan Kennen could have caught them in bad spots, but Fnatic was 1 step ahead that entire time.
All right, guys, that was a fantastic match by Fnatic. Let's go over to Quickshot and Kobe to break down how they won the match.
Thank you very much, team, and congratulations to Fnatic for picking up a victory. It was a game that was pretty hard fought, but it was basically Fnatic making all the moves. They seem to have all the answers to everything that Lemondogs was throwing at them. Let's go right back to the beginning, talk about the picks and bans. We've seen the Ashe-Zyra combo once again. We've seen a Yorick pick thrown in there as well. What did you think of the Fnatic comp?
So again, this is when people always talk about the style of Fnatic and their split pushing style and their skirmishing style. This is why you can't give them the Ashe-Zyra. That's why when they were playing EG, I kept saying you simply can't give them that much control. The engage, the disengage, the only thing they have to give up with that lane to take Ashe-Zyra is their bottom turret because they're up against a Caitlyn. But a Caitlyn lane is going to take that in just a matter of time anyway. They're willing to make that sacrifice to have their control over the team fights for the entire mid and late game. And the Yorick pick, now, that fits into their skirmish style. Yes, he's not a tank early because 95% of people build Yorick with the tier into the Manamune, into the Miramon at first, but he becomes a beastly tank later, and for the mid game, when he's not a tank, he can just ult whatever person does get caught and targeted in their skirmishes. So they're okay with that person going down, they'll just get back up.
Yeah, we actually seen that a couple of times throughout the course of the game, that it was Cyanide very early on, later on it was whoever got crescendoed up and got bursted down. It's going to actually lead us quite naturally to our very first replay, which was in and around the Dragon Pit. Let's pull that replay up on your screen. It actually starts with the Lemondogs sitting on the Dragon, but Cyanide does what Cyanide has been doing for a very long time.
So I had to pull this clip because this is just jungle power right here. Cyanide pulls a beautiful Dragon Steel to start this one off, and he escapes. It's Lemondogs trying to catch him that makes them overcommit in the river and allows YellOwStaR to make use of that giant amount of control that Zyra has in the river. She can actually block off the entire river with her ultimate here. So let's see. First, we'll start out with the steal from Cyanide. Just beautiful timing right here. And he's even going to be able to get out scot-free. They try and do a chase over here, which immediately Fnatic turn the tables on them. The roots into the Stranglethorns, and Mithy's going to get caught here. He is able to get off his crescendo, though, before he does get 100%ed. So this is going to allow a little answer from Lemondogs as Zorozero flashes in with his ulti to finish off the Caitlyn. But that's just not enough to answer here because sOAZ had ulted Cyanide. That was their fill-in for a tank instead, and they were able to catch this one out, finish off an ace and a Dragon Steel. So they got everything, and that was at 17 minutes. Usually we don't see aces plus objectives till much later in the game.
Yeah, and this is actually something that, you know, continued to trend throughout the course of the game. Every time these very big team fights did take place, Fnatic would win quite clearly, quite dominantly, but Lemondogs would be able to get some scraps, would be able to get some kills in place. And, you know, because we didn't really have that traditional tank from Fnatic, the onus was on them to make these fights work, which does lead us to our second replay. Let's pull this one up on your screen. It is going to be another fight, this time in the mid lane, and this really highlights the skirmishing power that Fnatic has under their belt.
Yeah, so this one I just wanted to show a clip where we can actually explain how Fnatic fight as a team if they ever are forced to. They would much rather split push and skirmish, but this is a point where they actually do get caught because of the teleport that Nukeduck goes into the river here, and they just happen to be in the perfect terrain for splitting up here. They all spread out, so their Lemondogs cannot corner them in, and then they use Zyra's ultimate to gain control of the center of the battlefield and open up a perfect arrow combo here. So let's roll this clip and we'll see how they shut down Zorozero by directing the focus. Here, they spread out here, so the crescendo only hits their 2 semi-tanks, and then that Zyra ultimate opened the window for the arrow to go down the middle of the battlefield, and they take out Zorozero before he can Zhonya's, before he can ultimate. From this point, it is the exact skirmishes that Fnatic want. Everyone spread out because of that giant Stranglethorns that went down in the middle of the map, and Nukeduck, he's on Fizz, who's very tricky, but he has to use all of his abilities to get in and make the assassination successful because he had to take teleport to deal with Twisted Fate. Whereas xPeke comes in, able to chase down another one.
So the one thing that I do want to talk about, just as far as the individual players were concerned, Nukeduck never really got to nuke anybody with that Fizz. He got himself into a fairly good position, but he couldn't really take out the Ashe. He didn't really have that overpowering lane matchup against Twisted Fate. And in general, that sort of trended for most of the Lemondogs players. You know, Zorozero and Kennen, he didn't really get off the best slicing maelstroms. There were a few, but it just felt like they couldn't really get the most out of their compositions and their champions.
Well, they did their best to. It was because of the control that Fnatic got with their picks.